Hello, hello, and good day, everyone! Welcome to Drakan the Ancient Gates Glitch Tutorial episode 77, where we are finally gonna eventually talk about Rynn Flight and Rynn Dash. But first and foremost, let me cover some glitches that I couldn't really talk about in the previous episodes or its two parts, because it wasn't relevant at the time. Our first one we're going to talk about was recently added to GameFAQs by 119 to Zona Blue. Apparently, if we actually exit out of the menu at the right time when we cast Rejuvenate, we can double cast it. As you notice, right there in the bottom right-hand corner screen of the mana, it took two shots of my mana right there. However, in what was the last thing that Zona Blue noted was that even if you only have enough to cast one Rejuvenation, it doesn't care. This allows you to double cast it at any time as long as you have enough for one cast of Rejuvenation, which really makes Rejuvenation even more broken than it already is. Speaking of applying glitches to spells, we have another one that will actually affect Arokh, and that is the spell Time Slow. So, what we have here is the normal speed for the Ice Breath attack. 1, 2. 1, 2. So I want you to know that rhythm and just remember. Now we're going to go and cast Time Slow. Then we are going to go right on back to Arokh, and thus we'll see how fast the attack is going. 1, 2. 1, 2. Let's switch to lightning. 1, 2, 3. It's really fast. And I want you to note with Fireball is that there are actually two separate explosion effects when using it. And one of them just retains with Arokh when using Time Slow. Also, the Fire Breath attack at this speed reminds me of an old trailer back when Drakan 2, back when this game was going to be called Drakan 2 in fall 2001. Which, of course, the game actually came out more in January 2002, but that is ancient history. Of all the attacks and specials that we can use with Arokh, there is one in particular that separates itself from the rest when using Time Slow, and that is the Fire Breath special. I want you to look at the rate of consumption here. The rate of consumption is basically halved, if not even more than that. So basically, we can hold down circle to spam Arokh's flamethrower attack during the full duration of Time Slow, even at level 3. But since I already killed all the enemies except for the ones in Stratos, we won't be able to see what kind of impact Time Slow is going to have on our battles with Arokh until we get to Stratos. And while we're still on the topic of spells, I like to point our attention to the spell Impale and this target here. What happens if we were to hit this target with Impale, it will lift up, rotate, and turn the direction of the target somewhere else. This is something that I learned after watching Buck Mana's video that was posted 14 years ago showcasing Rynn's spells and Arokh's attacks. But what it didn't show, if you spam this attack on this target, it will slowly rise up higher and higher. Skipping over to where I have it right now, as you can see, the target just keeps climbing higher and higher. However, there seems to be a rough point in which it won't go higher anymore. And that is roughly around right here. As I keep trying to spam the attack in this location, it just doesn't seem to go higher on me. Getting onto Arokh here, while the target is up in the air, we can basically use it as like aerial combat practice. In fact, if we choose not to target the target itself, we can practice trying to do a run in which we play as if this was the Order of the Flame, which did not have a targeting system. I think we all know that the Darkness attack passes through any inanimate object that has a health bar, thus making it difficult to receive the healing byproduct. However, if we are quick enough and put Arokh in the right position, we can still receive the healing byproduct of the Darkness attack from an inanimate object. While we have the target up in the air, I want to show you guys that Arokh really only likes flying over objects or enemies that are in the air. When they're on the ground, however, things can get a little weird. Let me show you exactly what I mean using the training dummy over here. While targeting an enemy on the ground, if we hold the left control stick forward when Arokh turns himself around, we can actually maintain that camera angle, unlike we can do with the enemy in the air. And if we do this and hold that left control stick and press X to have Arokh descend down and wait till the animation completes, we can have the camera angle be completely changed, in which, as you can see right here, Arokh is below and the camera is way up here. To give you an idea where Arokh is, let me activate this, his special here, his attacks, in which you can see it's actually down and to the left here is where Arokh is. Now, if we continue to strafe off over here, we will eventually be able to see Arokh. Where Arokh is in relation to the target will depend on where he is at relation to the target. As we move over here, he's now to the right. Again, it all depends on his position relative to his target. There is a few things I'm not able to test, however, given that this target is stationary, to see how much this glitch would be impacted if the target is moving, or if I have multiple targets to select from. This is very limited, however, given that the glitch can be deactivated by simply dismounting from Arokh, ascending into the air with Arokh, detargeting your target, and as well as being too far from your target, because the targeting system for Arokh is not indefinite like Rynn's. And as I stated before, I'm not sure how this will work when the enemies are moving, so again, it may be even more limited than what I have just shown you. But the ability to take some scenic pictures or have a unique camera angle when fighting enemies is a bit enticing. Now let's begin delving into Introverted Owl's glitches. In Rich regards, we're going to touch upon a few easy ones to start up, as well as the most essential one that we are going to be discussing through the story thus far. We're not going to cover all of his glitches. I have yet to master all of them, for that matter, but there are some on there that would probably be better left to do after our first playthrough of the game, given that our first playthrough of the glitch tutorial, given that I current skill set is focused on melee and magic, and as for the archery related glitches, I want to save that for when I can up my archery a bit more. So we'll save that for the next playthrough, but for right now, let's go ahead and delve into this current one that I want to show you guys here with Arokh, which Arokh has an auto attack feature. He will auto attack without you pressing any buttons, at least any buttons. Further, what you gotta do is press square or circle, any of the attack buttons, and select at the same time. Here we go. Activate both buttons together, and there we go. We have Arokh's auto attack. And if we want to deactivate said auto attack, we can just press square or circle again, or we can press select, or we can pause the game, or we can just have Arokh land back down as when Arokh completes his animation, the auto attack will cease. However, we can also activate it while on the ground, and ascending does not deactivate it. So you can pretty much activate it anywhere you're able to, and then you can explore freely. My favorite breath attack to combine this with is with the ice breath attack, particularly using square, because the rate of consumption for this attack is the same as the recovery rate. So I can just fly around willy-nilly and be able to just not even bother having to press square and just fly around, do acrobatics, and just let the attacks fly forth. I'm not sure how good this will be up against enemies, just flying around and doing nothing, but I can basically do some nice invasive maneuvers and be able to manipulate the control in ways that I wouldn't be able to otherwise when I have my thumb pressed and held onto the square button. A nice thing you can also do with this is go through each attack, breath attack, and just cycle through everything. And let's finish off with the ice breath attack here, as it's a good one to go back to, and as you can see, as I said, the rate of consumption is the same as the rate of recovery, as you can see right down in the bottom right hand corner. It is not increasing at all. It just keeps hitting at that baseline right here. And so I wish the recovery rate was a little bit more, because then I can use this to kind of help Arokh slowly recover and then cycle through my attacks again. Now let me introduce you to Auto Rapid Fire Glitch by combining the Time Slow Arokh glitch with the Arokh Auto Attack glitch. So let's go ahead and set things up. There we go. Here we go. Auto Rapid Fire, let's go. Look how chaotic this is. There isn't anyone, let alone a human, that can stand this attack. Nyahaha! But in any case, once when you start running low on magic, you can just exit out of it and then start it up again. Of course, once when time slow ends, then it goes back to being normal speed. But of course, we can just get off of Arokh, do the time slow glitch again, and then do the auto rapid fire. A lot of getting away from enemies in this game is rather easy, getting behind a mountain and such, so you should be able to continue your rapid fire fun without dying. Now, doing this with Arokh's Fire Breath special, the game doesn't seem to like you trying to do a continuous shot of the breath attack here. However, with some persistence, you can eventually get it to work, and when it does, Arokh will essentially be encased in fire and essentially basically becoming like a fiery phoenix flying across the battlefield, or at least fairly briefly whenever you lose your momentum. But I wish I could perform a high-speed aerial tackle so I could be able to do this while dealing both physical damage and consecutive burn damage from the breath attack. Now let's discuss Introvert Owl's point that level 2 Fireball is superior to level 3. Where level 3 has a max damage of 18 uses and mana cost of 20%, and level 2 does 15 damage, mana cost of 17%. The most important thing to note is the rate of consumption here, and that doesn't seem to be that much of a difference from level 7 and before. But what's going to matter is if we actually increase it to level 8. So let's go ahead and have a skill point available. Let's first target if we have our magic only at level 7. So at level 7 magic, level 2 Fireball gives us about 6 consecutive shots with a delayed 7th shot, while level 3 gives us 5 consecutive straight shots at our target, which basically equates to the same amount of damage upon impact, no difference here. However, when casting Fireball normally at level 3, it gives us 6 counts of 18 damage, while level 2 is going to give us only 7 counts of 15 damage, which basically makes, at level 7 magic, level 3 Fireball to be slightly superior to, but let's see what will happen when we max out Rynn's mana regeneration by maxing out her magic skill level. So when incorporating the rapid fire glitch, level 2 is going to give us 7 consecutive, uninterrupted consecutive shots of 15 damage, while level 3 is going to give us only 5 with a delayed 6. And when casting Fireball normally, we are going to get still 6 counts of 18 damage, but when we're using it level 2, we are actually going to get 8 counts of 15 damage, which is superior to level 3 Fireball. So if you're trying to max out your magic, level 2 Fireball is the best one for direct damage. But if you're not trying to maximize your magic, level 3 Fireball would be the better choice. For the last thing that we're going to add to magic here is another glitch in which called strafe teleporting, or also magic stepping. First discovered by Rockmox years ago, and expanded upon by Introverted Owl, this glitch allows Rynn to add some skips to her strafing. These skips allow you to be able to have some advanced evasion tactics when dealing with incoming projectiles. This can be performed with or without magic, and to perform this, all you gotta do is tap the left control stick either left and right and hold it, then release it back to neutral and then tap and hold it again. However, this cannot be performed when using a bow or a sword, making magic the only one you can do this glitch with, given that the strafe movement for magic is the same as if she was not holding a weapon at all. Just keep in mind that you cannot do this while targeting an enemy. Speaking of advanced evasive techniques, this one is going to require a sword and a shield. So we all know Rynn's rolls to left, right, forward, and back. But if we add circle and let go of the left control stick, we'll actually get this. So basically what Rynn is doing is kind of like doing a small little warp as she is trying to complete her roll. So basically you tilt the control stick in any direction to perform the roll, which here we're doing holding L2 and doing a sideways roll, and this is kind of what it looks like. But as you can see, she'll teleport in a direction that I have her roll to, and then slide back to her neutral position where she's actually supposed to be. Much like magic stepping, rolling to the side will actually not work if you're targeted on an enemy. However, doing cross rolls where you actually either roll backwards or roll forwards will actually work even when you are targeting an enemy. The rolling forward aspect of it has a potential to confuse your enemy to the point where they may turn your backs to you once when you warp back to your neutral position. Of course, I'm just kind of reiterating what Introverted Owl has provided in his glitch guide on GameFAQs. I will test this later in Stratos when I actually do have some enemies to try this out on. The next glitch we're going to talk about is a couple of enhancements to the Who turn, also known as the Quick Turn on GameFAQs. The two enhancements are known as the Double Quick Turn with Attack and the Quick Turn Cross-Up. The first one we're going to learn is the Quick Turn Cross-Up, where we basically perform a Who turn followed by up on the D-pad plus triangle. This will allow Rynn to do a Who turn and immediately follow it up with a 180 front flip. And fun fact, a 180 front flip is also known as a Barani, which I'll try to use more often because that's less of a mouthful than a 180 front flip. When doing this while targeting an enemy, Rynn actually does a 360 attack followed by the Barani, which can potentially get Rynn over or around enemies to access their backs. I'm curious as to see if the 360 part of the attack will cause an enemy to flinch, thus giving me more time to do the Barani to get to their backs. What I find most interesting about this glitch, this enhancement of the Who turn, is that the second the Barani you perform, you don't need to press down and up on the D-pad again. You just need to press up on the D-pad and triangle after you perform a Who turn. Now, to do a double quick turn with attack, you just need to do the quick turn cross-up followed by square. And you press square immediately after you do your inputs for the quick turn cross-up. So basically, before Rynn's feet leave off the ground performing the Barani, we're going to interrupt that with an attack, allowing Rynn 2 quick turns in rapid succession. When you successfully perform it while targeting an enemy, you have the potential to basically do a 2-hit combo, followed by being able to combo it with other attacks. Now some combo tricks I've kind of discovered on my own here. So, when using a melee weapon, you can basically, when doing a 3-hit combo, on the 3rd hit you can perform the jump and then hit square, continuing the 3-hit combo, causing Rynn to do kind of a lunge attack. But basically, it's the same thing as if she was actually running on the ground, but instead you add jump in the air and she performs her 3rd attack while in the air. Though I'm not sure what I showed you would count as a glitch, per se, but in the same realm of things, Rynn actually has momentum when she's doing a 3-hit combo, any of her power attacks for that matter, as well as a stab from behind. So, what can happen is basically when she is moving, say we're going to do a stab from behind. When she steps forward from the stab behind, she actually has momentum going forward. So what's going to happen here is if we press jump, she'll lunge forward. So we can have that go right into a jump attack. Same thing is true if you do a power attack, and if you time the jump just right in the power attack, she will lunge forward. Again, you're going to be interrupting the power attack, but if you time it just right on the jump, you'll actually be able to hit the enemy with your attack, and if they're still standing, you can hit them in the air with your aerial attack. But if you miss your first power attack, you can at least lead into a jump to hopefully cause them to flinch during combat. Now, the 3-hit combo is trickier to do because trying to time it just right can be a bit tricky, as Rynn will sometimes just jump straight up and do the attack. But if you can get the timing down, you can have her perform a lunging attack going forward with her third shot. A lot similar to doing just running around and doing the combo, but at least here you can ensure that you're going to get the 3-hit combo to go off against your enemy, especially when going up a slope. Less so on a flat surface, even more so when going downhill. Now, doing this with two-handed weapons can be a bit underwhelming, given that the only power attack that actually works with it is this one, but we have to interrupt it before Rynn actually even hits the enemy in order to have her be able to lunge forward. So she would only be able to do this, lunge forward, and do an aerial hit from there. Where in the one-handed weapon, we'll actually be able to combine two hits, both the strong attack and the aerial attack if the enemy is still standing. Now, doing the standing 3-hit combo can be a lot easier to do to implement the lunge attack, which here, it's when Rynn is bringing down her sword upon the enemy. So essentially, it's 1, 2, hi, missed. Come on. 1, 2, hi. Oh, come on. 1, 2, hiya! 1, 2, hi! Ah! 1, 2, hiya! 1, 2, hiya! Just like that. Heck, you can even implement the control stick to have her lunge even further if you time it just right. Now let's talk about chaining power attacks. Now, to best show you guys how to do this, I'm going to be using a medium speed weapon here. So basically what you got to do is when you do your power attack is that during the animation you implement your next power attack, and so when her animation completes, she will then proceed to the next one. Then during that one you implement your next one, and then you keep repeating this process until you are satisfied. So let's do down up, right square, left square, down square, right square, and then let's do an infinite cyclone. Let's go! Woohoo! So basically, I'm hoping that you can actually, while doing this, toggle between your targets, switch to your next target after knocking the other one down, and just keep going that process, and just not let your enemy have a literal chance at trying to get back up and fight back, as they're all flying to the floor. Now, if you wanted to repeat the same animation like Rynn is doing here, or others like it that do not require a weapon to use, you can do so by simply pressing circle anytime during the animation and before it ends to reset it to its beginning. Now, this isn't really particularly useful except for one thing, and that is if you wanted to take a snapshot. Say I wanted to take a snapshot of Rynn right here. I want you to note when I pause the game right here that the icon scrolled off the screen. Now, when I unpause the game, there is going to be a split second that they haven't scrolled back onto the screen just yet. And so just before they come into view, you take a snapshot and you'll be able to have Rynn in that pose with the background that you want. So with that being said, again, not particularly useful, but if you have a capture card, you can either just do a photo shot or you can do a screenshot of your video. Well, that's all we have time for this part, in which in part 2 we'll be discussing how to do flight dashing, which I am doing right now, among some many other glitches. And from there, we'll finally be moving on to Stratos. Yeah! So without further ado, let's move on to part 2. So, like, comment, subscribe, and as always, have a great life, everyone. Bye-bye!